Well, it finally arrived. My Himiway Zebra E-Bike. But got a pretty good dent there in the side of the box. So hopefully it's okay. But it is a Zebra Step-Thru Himiway. When you put the Himiway bike together, you are going to need a 4mm Allen wrench, 3mm Allen wrench, and a 5mm Allen wrench. And you'll also need the following open-end wrenches: 8mm, 10mm, 15mm, and you'll need a number 2 Phillips head. Now if you look closely, you'll see that the box is upside down. So what I'm going to do is open the bottom of the box, then I'm going to tilt the box upright and lift the box off, because this thing weighs 79 pounds. It's heavy. One person really can't lift it out of the box. So let's see how that looks. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention that you will need is a pair of dikes to cut the box straps off. Alright, one other thing I forgot to mention is you'll need safety glasses. Let's see if we can open this box. Easy peasy. It is top heavy on this side, so if you let it go, it is going to fall. So you might want to slide it back so it's leaning against the box. And take any boxes off that are around it. Alright, now we're going to find out what is inside of this accessory box. Here's a container full of screws and nuts and bolts. So, there's a Himiway hat, a Rock Brothers toolkit, this is the headlight, the derailleur protector, the front axle, the pedals, the instruction book, and this must be the charger. So note that you need a key right here to release the battery, and the keys are attached to the handlebars right here. So there's a little tie wrap there. You just cut the tie wrap carefully. So here's the keys. Now we're going to carefully get the battery out, hopefully. Alright, put your hand underneath here. Turn the key. There's a little release under here. Reach underneath here and you turn it a little bit. Then the battery comes out like that. Here's the battery. So this is the battery charger put together. It's just the power cord. It's just like a computer PC power cord. It just plugs in one way only. That's the cord that plugs in the wall. This is the cord that plugs into the battery. And it plugs into the battery right there on the side. Right there where my finger's pointing. And then to check the battery, there's a little switch here. Press it down and hold it. And that's a green light. So I'm assuming green means either fully charged or almost fully charged. So let's plug it in and see what happens. Alright, first I'm going to plug this into the battery. And then I'm going to plug this into the wall. So, there's actually a fan in the battery charger. You can hear the fan running, and first it was a green light and now it's a red light. So red means charging and green will mean that it's fully charged. So next I'm going to install the handlebars. First you use a 4mm Allen wrench to get these 4 screws out. And when you tighten these up, make sure you tighten them just like you tighten the wheel lugs on a car. You start with one corner, then you go to this corner, then go to this corner, then this corner. So you keep doing the opposite as you're tightening them. Okay, this last screw, make sure you hold on to this so it doesn't drop. Alright, next thing you do is bring the handlebar up, and you have to make this, you have to put this on so that it's on the right side. Make sure that none of the cables are twisted down below. And once you have all that there, and note, I don't know if you can see that, there's markings right here. So you can visually adjust it to a certain setting down the road. And it does slide side to side, so you want to center that in there. And we'll move it a little bit once we get the screw started. Okay, so make sure you get this lined up good, and if you have to, take it back off, leave the handlebars loose, and move it left to right to center it. Pretty much eyeball it right here. You can tell that you've got it centered. Now when you're tightening these up, like I said, tighten down here, and I'm just doing these finger tight, then up here, then over here, then down here. Okay. So next I'm going to install the front tire. So you have to remove the plastic protector at the bottom of the fork. Make sure that the disc for the disc brake is on the correct side where the disc brake is. You have to remove the plastic protector where the axle goes through. I have to have the axle ready. And once we get that installed, then we can put the kickstand down. So the lever for the quick release lever for the front tire should go on the left hand side, same side as the brake. And once again, when I put the axle through, you have to make sure that the springs are facing the right direction. There's a narrow end and a large end of the spring. The narrow end looks like it goes towards the middle of the bike, or towards the middle of the fork. So to remove this, I'm just going to put my foot here and raise up, and it comes right off. And here's that little protector that you have to pop off. Alright, so there's the two things off of there. Good to know. So when I raise this up, there's a little protector, a little red protector. Alright, before you put the tire on, you've got to thread the axle through here. So like I said, on here you have two springs, narrow end, thick end. So you take this nut off, slide the springs off, slide the axle through, so there is a little rubber thing that pops off. Don't need that either. So once you thread the axle through, you're gonna work on getting this installed on here. So you just screw this on till it starts to snug up, and then we've got to make sure the bike doesn't fall over here. Okay, so once again, the disc is in the disc brake correctly. The springs are on correctly. The tire is centered in the fork up at the top. We're going to screw this on until it starts to feel snug. And then we're going to tighten this up. Okay, if it won't go, loosen it up a little bit. Then try it again. There we go. Now there's no way that can interfere with the disc brake. So let's lift this up. Looks okay. Once again, to review the installation of the front tire, there is this little plastic thing that goes between the forks that you have to remove. There's a little plastic thing that goes in the end of one side of the axle on the tire itself. There's this little disc that protects the disc brake on the tire. And there's this little red thing that was snapped into the disc brake caliper, and you just pull that out. Now the bike's starting to look more like a bike. So it's on its kickstand now. Next, I'm going to install the pedals, but before I do that, I'm going to remove a couple more things of padding. So the pedals are all wrapped up. You have to remove this. And the pedals are marked left and right. Read this, but on the shaft, right on the end of the shaft, there's an L here and an R here. So L goes on this side and R goes on the other side. Okay, these are good old Craftsman tools. I bought these when I was 16 years old, and I'm in my 60s now. These things work like a charm. All right. There's one. I'll put the other one on now on the other side. Alright, so now the pedals are on. Okay, so I just installed the derailleur guard, which is this guard right here. All you do is remove these two screws and then put the guard in place, put the screws back in. Be careful you don't strip them when you're putting them in. Make sure the cable is free and not being pinched. Next, we're going to cut the protective padding off of the rear taillight and install the rack right here. And it's just two screws. I think those are 4mm. Unscrew them, then put the rack in, and then after that I think the next step would be the fenders. And just to let you know, you do have to apply quite a bit of pressure to get these to line up. Okay, now that rack is on tight. And check out this sweet taillight. So you do have to install this arm down here. So again, there's another tie that you have to cut. Alright, this comes down. Same way the other side. Another tie wrap to cut. This comes down. And it attaches to the rear screw right here. So we'll get that done next. So just to review, the only thing that I had to do to install the rear rack was install these two screws and then this screw right here, and it has a washer on it. Same way with the other side right here. And that arm goes back to the fender. Okay, next you have to install the front fender. So the front fender, on the fork there's a loose screw with a lock washer on the back. Then you've got two arms, and the arms go into here. So you got to take these off as well. So since that's pretty straightforward, I'll just get her done. And for installing the fender, you're going to need a 5mm Allen wrench and a 10mm socket to get the back sight off. These look down at the bottom, they look like 4mm right down here. And for the back side of this, you're going to need a 8mm socket to hold the back. Just make sure before you install the headlight that you take a picture of your serial number, record it. Okay, so when you install the headlight, you're going to have to reverse the bracket. So the reflector and the bracket, I had to reverse it, and now it fits on there and gives plenty of clearance between the fork and the light. So they don't mention that in the instructions at all. Super important. After your bike is put together, make sure that you put the right amount of pounds on the tire. You can go from 4 pounds to 30 pounds, I believe, on this. So this is what the bike looks like after it's all put together. This is made out of wood, and this is actually etched into the wood, or burned into the wood, or routed. The tires are reflectorized. Nice badging on it. And it's a Zebra. Haven't turned this on yet because I don't have the battery fully charged yet, but that will be done very soon from now. So now I want to show you all the packaging that was removed on the floor. You can see it all. Quite a bit. And I would suggest that you save the packaging in case you have to send the bike back. But to be honest with you, I don't really know how you would send this thing back. The original box is damaged, and I don't remember where all the packaging was attached to. So anyways, here's the bike. We'll take it for a spin pretty quick. Alright, so the battery is now charged. The green light is on. So let's disconnect the battery from the charger and take a look at it. Okay, green light. So we'll install that next into the bike. So the way to tell which way the battery goes in, over here there's a charging port, which you can see down here. So that would be the bottom. Okay, so it goes in like that and then up, and it snaps in, and then to lock it in you would have to turn the key and pull the key out. Whoops. Okay. So you turn the key clockwise so it's up this way and then pull the key out. Now the battery's locked in.